Leadership11.com.
Welcome to Leadership Role. I'm your host, Dr. Kitty, and today we'll find out what Leadership Role is. Well, Leadership Role is intended to be a daily podcast about 40K. I drew my inspiration from Ben Curry over at Bad Dice Daily, excellent Warhammer Fantasy podcast, which I would highly recommend to anybody interested in learning some basic tactics about fantasy, or kind of how the, at least European tournament meta works. He's very knowledgeable, runs a really great show, really tight ship, and I would like to be at least marginally successful as he was in starting this. It's a big project, but I'm going to give it a shot. So a little bit about myself, I suppose. I've been playing 40K for about 15 years. I started in 1998. With a Blood Angels army from the Space Hulk set. So it was Terminators and a tactical squad, I think. Largely played against Tyranids. Was always crushed by them. But, you know, it was 3rd edition. It wasn't the best of rule sets for shooting. Honestly, it was all assault all the time. It was pretty much just fantasy with some more guns thrown in. But over the years, I've collected several armies, Imperial Guard, Orcs, Tyranids, because they were my first opponents, and the other half of the Space Hulk box, it kind of made sense that I'd have them eventually. And I've played nearly every army in the game, I think. I haven't played Sisters in a very long time. I'm kind of curious about their new digital codex. Looking forward to playing against it. I haven't yet, which is completely my fault. But We'll tackle that when we get to it, I suppose. But hobby-wise, I would say that the probably defining factor for me is all of my armies are painted, and several of them are many thousands of points. It's not like I'm saying that I'm super awesome at painting them. I'm not. I think they're all right. They have won some player choice awards at some of the local tournaments, but and I'm proud of them. But I mean, they're not Golden Demon by any stretch of the imagination. I also worked for GW off and on for the last 10 to 12 years or so. The time goes by. It's a megalithic corporation bent on crushing our souls, much like the Imperium. But, I mean, it does provide us with the enjoyable game pieces and a game that we all love. And honestly, the less I say, the better, probably. So this being an intro episode, my intention is really just kind of outline the topics and whatnot that I intend to talk about throughout the weeks. And basically, a lot like Bad Dice, what I want to do is set down a particular sequence of different topics corresponding with each day. So I haven't really decided what they are yet, but I'm looking at topics like, you know, the top 5 insert thing here, perhaps monsters, creatures, or vehicles, or troop types, or what have you. There's a lot of things you could do with that, honestly. Codex reviews, I think that's pretty much a given in any 40K podcast. I mean, you're going to have to go over the basics of the Codex and whatnot. I'm actually looking forward to doing the Inquisition Codex, which I got on the iPad here. It's very interesting because it's not like other codexes, so that's going to be a topic I want to cover probably right out of the gate, more or less. And along with that, you're also going to be, you know, covering things like new releases, you know, large and small, from like the new paints to, you know, the next digital supplement coming out and things like that. I'm going to try to avoid news and rumors type stuff, mostly because there's a dozen sites that you can already pull that from. Not saying I won't talk about it, but really, you know, why hear it from the third hand when you get it from the horse's mouth, you know? So, however, I will be interested in going over like tips and tactics and things like that, as well as, you know, list building and not really with the tournament set in mind, as more as an overall balanced list. Something that, maybe this is my GW roots coming through, something that would help somebody starting out rather than like the guy who's already played for 10 years. Like, again, much like the rumor sites, I think you could probably dig up a net list that'll do okay at your next tourney. I mean, if you guys want to ask me what I think of it, I mean, I definitely don't have a problem with that. And I think from time to time I'll also have some guests come in. Maybe we'll have a little conversation about something or another. Maybe something that happened in a game or something we saw on the internet that we liked, or pretty much anything, just to see where interests lie and whatnot. And of course, I'm also going to leave myself open for wild card topics, just kind of like out of the blue. I think there's been some good ones over the last year that I wouldn't mind talking about. And I mean, beautiful thing about the hobby is that it's always changing. So it doesn't really matter that we're all at different levels, because we all enjoy the hobby to some degree or another. Otherwise, why would you even be listening to me talk? I mean, it's kind of how it works. So this is a short one, just kind of trying to get a feel for how the podcasting solo thing works. I've done a couple of podcasts in the past, but not for any length of time. And I really enjoy the medium. I don't know why. Maybe I like talking to myself, feeling like I'm talking to you. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see how this goes, and we'll touch base later.